going to bring down the depth a little bit. So there's very little vibration there. You really hear a sweet cut without vibration, and it's because every cut is being directed towards the chuck. If I made a heavy cut from the outside pushing in, I am really trying to pull that piece out of the chuck. It's going to make a lot of noise, but also I'm cutting into end grain. So here I have end grain, if you look the way the fibers run. So here I have end grain, and over there I have end grain. And it is always hard work pushing into end grain. If I make every cut in this direction, it's always side grain. Okay, so I'm going to hollow that out now, and I'm just going to explain just something very quickly, the hollowing process. If you want to practice these cuts at home that I'm going to show you now, this is a really good way to learn how to do it. If you make pencil lines all about 4 or 5 millimeters apart, when it comes to hollowing out, a few things you have to get right. One is that get the handle level with the floor or the bed of the lathe. The other is you have to rotate it over. This is called the flute, and this is called the flute in open position. Turn it on its side and it's the flute in the closed position. About there, it's half open. So if you put that in there, just let me lift the tool rest up a little bit. If you put that in there on its side, with the flute closed and the tool parallel to the floor, it's very easy to make a little groove to start the cut. So once you make a groove, then you can rotate the tool and then pull that face shield. It has keeps sliding down bit by bit. So if I was to go in there with the tool with the flute slightly open, can you see the way this is closed or slightly open? Look what happens. See the way it skips to the left. So if the tool is lying to the left, it runs to the left. If the tool is lying to the left 1 degree, it runs to the left, cutting a thread that's 1 degree. If you lie it to the right, it runs to the right. So we need to get it upright. If you lift the handle, it runs to the right. If you drop the handle, it runs to the left. And that's telling me the point that meets the wood has to be vertical. Anything that's in another position, it's not going to work. So as I pierce the wood, I just rotate the tool. Sorry, you can't see there. I'm going to stand back for a second. So you'll be a cameraman there for a second. I always felt that would be, that's your calling in life, a cameraman. Yeah, can you get there? Yeah. So, yeah, that's perfect. Thank you, Tony. So, I'm just piercing the pencil lines, rotating the tool, and just pushing towards center. So once I'm down about an inch or so, I won't go deeper for a moment, but all I do is leave another layer of grooves. We can go in a little closer now. There we go. Tell me, better or worse? Better? Yeah, okay, better for me too. Okay, so I'll just hold it on the knee. So pierce the wood, rotate the tool. You see the way it skated that time, and that's because the tip of the tool was lying slightly to the left. And it's because the way I'm holding it is not quite comfortable for me. I'd rather hold it like this, but then you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm going to hold it. But every cut I make is towards my chuck. And that's because if I made a cut that went in and all the way around to the bottom, it's not towards my chuck anymore, and then I get more vibration. So you have to think all the time about vibration and how to manage it. But that can start with sharp tools. Get the tools sharp and then get everything else right as well. The tool rest is going to move in a little bit now. And now it's easy. See the way it doesn't skate anymore because I have the grooves. So it's the first step is the hard part. And then I'm going to transfer those grooves an inch deeper. I'm standing with my right foot forward. And if I stand with my right foot forward, it allows me to lean back out of the way. you stand like this, look what happens. And look what happens when it meets your tummy and you have to use your left hand. You see all those grooves? So what's happening here, the right hand is doing everything, and I mean everything. The left hand has nothing to do other than push down. And when I'm teaching people in the workshop sometimes that can't master this cut, I'll get them to take their left hand off the tool and I'll push down for them. So they're forced to do this. So, you see how sweet that curve is when the right hand is doing the work. And look how sweet the curve is when the left hand does the work. So I'm going to keep the right hand there. Has anybody ever seen that cut before? Where you're wrestling with the tool and you get a really awful finish. It's just lots of ridges. So the right hand does the work. Okay, so I'm going to just work here for a second on pinning down this little bowl. I'm going back to the green tool once again.